Hi, I'm Carrie Ann Rose, and there's a topic that I've been wanting to talk about because it's been appearing a lot on my feed recently, and the more I see it, the more it kind of agitates me as a horse owner and rider. So we're just gonna kind of jump into it. Okay, so recently on Facebook mostly, TikTok and YouTube, Rescue Ranch is the Rocking R Ranch and Rescue Inc. They had a horse. His name is Rocky. He's a young colt born with only 3 legs. So he only has 1 leg in his front. They decided to keep this horse alive. Rocky was born and they noticed he only had 3 legs. They decided to go against all odds and keep this 3-legged colt alive. He is still alive to this day, and he seems to be thriving very well, but this is generally not a case you should keep a horse in. And I'm gonna kind of get into it with facts I know from being raised around horses and my family rescuing and training and owning. So this is just gonna kind of be me sharing why this shouldn't be so heavily supported. As much as you see posts about how this is such an amazing horse, he's thriving against all odds and he's doing so amazing, this genuinely isn't such a good case that we need to be supporting. And as a animal lover, I love animals and I want to give them all a chance, and I believe all animals deserve a second chance at life. There's just some cases where you're gonna have to let that case go. You're gonna have to put an animal down. You need to know what's kind of right for their life. Yeah, they might be living currently, but this can just very much affect their life and how they live. Getting into why this horse is not gonna live a very healthy life is horses carry a lot of weight. Even if this horse isn't necessarily going to be ridden, horses carry weight from their riders and then their own weight constantly. Yes, horses lay down to rest, but they're constantly have to carry weight. And if you remove a horse's front leg, they're immediately going to have 60 to 70% all on that one leg that they have in the front. They're not going to have 2 legs to support themselves on. So a lot of that weight's going to be going towards that one hoof that they're standing on, which can lead to a lot of laminitis. So I have some stuff written down. Structural defects, such as injuries, infections, or anything that can cause lameness or movement towards that horse is just going to very much affect their life, especially because this horse, Rocky, that we're specifically talking about, carries so much weight in his front foot. Okay, I'm going to go off some of my notes I have written down right here. A horse does not distribute all of their weight evenly. Horses carry 60 to 70% of their whole body weight in their front legs. That's to compensate for their head and their neck. And as soon as you take out one of those front legs, that's the 60 to 70% of that body weight percent on one leg of that horse. With all that weight on that one foot and on that one leg, it's going to start causing a lot of problems. That horse is going to start seriously increased risk of pressure-induced laminitis. Pressure-induced laminitis. Laminitis can be caused by a lot of different things, but with all that weight on that one leg, it's going to start causing excess amount of pressure. And it's not uncommon for a horse that has an injury on one side of its leg to then get laminitis from standing too much, because essentially laminitis is inflammation. And you're causing that horse to stand so much constantly and constantly carrying all of its weight, not just because its legs stopped growing. If we look at the horse, his front leg stopped growing. And it's normal for foals to have a higher bum, but it should not be that much higher, and he should not already be at such a young age getting such a sway back and his withers be so close to the ground. So with all that standing, all that pressure, and all that weight, he's definitely going to get laminitis. He's going to have a lot of pressure induced, and it's going to cause him so much pain and discomfort, even if he might not seem it, because according to them, he's perfectly happy and surviving, and he's thriving. So the limbs play a major part in the movement of a horse, with the legs performing the functions observing impact, bearing weight, and providing thrust, the majority of weight is literally in the front legs. It's all in the front legs, while the rear legs provide propulsion and the containing structures that provide blood flow, traction. If we look at Rocky, his fetlock is already bending so much and just looks so affected by how much weight he constantly has to hold up. And it's going to be really rough on his forearm and his posture and his fetlock because of how much of that extra body weight he now has to carry on one foot. And this is already affecting his life in so many ways. Literally, just to get him farrier visits, they have to make him lay down. They've trained him very well from a young age to lay down for farrier visits, which just, you should have a horse standing for farrier visits because you need to see where they stand on that hoof. And if you just trim a horse while they're all laying down on Callywumpus, and your colt's laying down really weird with already messed up fetlock, you're going to trim that horse's foot and he's going to get up and it's just not going to be correct. They're not going to be sound, and this horse will probably never be sound. There's been many cases that I can pull up where a horse has been born or had a leg amputated. At that point, you need to put the horse down, because if you're putting a horse in a wheelchair, that horse is not going to be able to lay down or get up on its own, and it's just going to have so much weight. It's withers, and it's going to have a horrible slope in its back, and it's just not going to be good for the horse, because that's not going to give them the right support that they need, that their own legs would give them. And they're not going to be able to move. And not just that, is if like an issue for the horse that is in a wheelchair or has a prosthetic leg, it can be an issue to other horses around it. The horses love to play and run. And if that horse can't run properly, they can get stuck in fencing, ground, trees, roots, you name it. That horse can get stuck. It can hurt itself even more than it already is, and other horses. By doing a side-by-side of a normal's foal and Rocky, you can very clearly notice it. Even if you're not an equestrian, I feel like if you're not blinded by it, you should be able to notice it. And another thing that gets to me is, not just are they saying this horse is completely fine and thriving, and he's doing great going down hills. Half of where he lives is just slopes with tree roots and everything, and he's already carrying so much of his body weight, now he has to carry it down hills, and it's not okay. But not just are they just like removing anyone who makes hate comments or anyone who's trying to state facts towards them, including vets. They'll block vets that are trying to prove facts on why this is not okay. They're making money off of it. They're making a ton of money off of it, and that's probably why they keep posting him and keep him alive, if I'm being so honest. And it sucks to say, but if you look on their page, or if you look on any of their socials anywhere, they're constantly trying to sell plushies, they're constantly trying to sell calendars, and they're just trying to constantly shove it down your throat that, like, hey, we have this three-legged horse that doesn't look 100% right, but he's alive. Isn't that a miracle? You should definitely buy all of our stuff, because it's just gonna make us want to post more stuff about him uncomfortably running and walking down hills. So, and they make money off of it, and there's a ton of people in their comments that are supporting, saying how it's such an amazing miracle that this horse is still alive and he's thriving and he gets to run with other foals, but he doesn't. He doesn't get to thrive and run with other foals. He has to hop. If you see videos of foals with 3 legs, you can find it out there on TikTok or YouTube. They're hopping. They should not be moving the way they do move. It's not okay. All of this going to say, just, I want more people to notice what is going on here, because as an equestrian and an animal lover, as much as I don't want to say, oh, you need to put this animal down, as much as I don't want that to be done, I don't want us to put animals down. Like, you know, I'm so for rescuing and giving animals a second chance. This horse is not going to live a super long or healthy life at all. Half the cases where a foal or a horse has a prosthetic leg or a wheelchair, they don't live long. They don't even make it to their 20s. They don't even make it to the rough age of 15. And I know that might seem really long for a horse. It's not. I've known of a family horse that my mom had lived to 36. And And I know there's a horse with full legs, okay? He had all 4 legs. His name was All Billy. He lived to be like 63. Horses can live a really long life with the right care and all of their legs to support their body weight because they're healthy. They have the limbs a horse should have. So, all that going to say, I've just been seeing it a lot, and it just really irritates me, and I just kind of want to spit out facts so people can start to see the other side of this, besides just the, oh my gosh, he's alive, that's great. Like, they need to also see that, yeah, this is good, there's good side to this, that this horse is alive, but the downside is this horse is not thriving, it is suffering. So